Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're embarking on what seems like a simple mission, maybe, but it actually holds immense power for anyone looking to really refine their communication. We're taking insights from mastering essential English phrases, and we're really zeroing in on just 5 common expressions.
Right. Just 5.
Yeah, think of it as a shortcut. Not just speaking English, but, truly living in the language, understanding all those little nuances.
Exactly.
So what's our mission? Well, it's to pull out the most important nuggets of knowledge from these everyday phrases, show you how they shape meaning, how they influence perception, and ultimately make you a more confident speaker.
And what's really fascinating here, I think, is how often the words and phrases we use most frequently. Well, they're the ones we barely noticed, right?
Yeah, we just say them.
We just say them. But they are the absolute bedrock of effective communication. So we'll be looking beyond just, the dictionary definitions. We're diving into the why and the how. How do they reflect cultural norms? How do they convey subtle emotions, build those logical connections in our thoughts?
Okay.
This deep dive, it should really illuminate how mastering these seemingly simple expressions can dramatically boost your fluency and comprehension, hopefully provide some of those real aha moments that unlock a deeper understanding.
Love those aha moments. Okay, let's kick things off then.
Let's do it.
Let's unpack this first one. That sounds, we hear it constantly. That sounds like a plan. That sounds good. It's everywhere.
Ubiquitous, yeah.
But why? Why is it so common? What work is it really doing in our conversations? Because it feels like more than just acknowledging something you heard.
That really raises a crucial point. That sounds isn't just about, hearing the auditory perception. It's much deeper. It's about interpreting.
Ah, okay. Interpreting.
Interpreting information, ideas, proposals, based on how they're communicated to you. It's this incredibly versatile tool for expressing an immediate opinion or an initial reaction.
So like a first impression based on words.
Exactly, a first impression. You're not just saying, I heard a noise. You're signaling that you've processed the content of what was said and you've formed a preliminary take on it. It's your brain's immediate response, often emotional or intellectual.
So it's less about the sound waves, much more about the cognitive, maybe emotional processing of the actual message. That feels like a key distinction.
Precisely. That's it exactly. Its core function is to communicate your impression.
Yep.
Your judgment about something you've heard or that someone suggested.
Okay.
It tells the other person, okay, I'm processing this, I'm reacting. Now, grammatically, you'll almost always find it followed by an adjective.
Right. Good, bad, interesting.
Difficult, easy, yeah. Or, and this is important too, it can be followed by a noun phrase introduced by like.
Ah, like a good idea, like fun.
Like a problem, exactly. That little word like is doing a lot of work there. It smoothly connects that abstract idea of a sound to a more concrete concept or situation.
That makes sense, bridging the gap. Now, you brought up the difference between that is interesting and that sounds interesting. Can you unpack that a bit more? Because that feels subtle, but really powerful.
Absolutely. It's a critical nuance. That is interesting. It's more objective. It's a factual statement almost. You're asserting that something possesses the quality of being interesting.
Like pointing at an artifact and saying, that is interesting.
Precisely. You're stating a fact about the thing itself, but that sounds interesting. That conveys your subjective perception, your personal interpretation of something you've only heard described or maybe read about.
So it's your reaction to the description.
Yes, exactly. It's your immediate internal reaction to the verbal input. If someone tells you about a complex new scientific theory, you might say, that sounds interesting. You're reacting to their explanation, not necessarily making a final judgment on the theory itself. It's provisional. It leaves room.
Okay, that clarifies it beautifully. It's about that internal processing, that immediate reaction. Let's get into some examples to make this really concrete. How does that sounds show agreement or approval?
Well, for agreement, it's incredibly direct and efficient. Imagine your friend says, we could meet at 7 p.m. to sort out the details.
Okay.
Your immediate positive reaction to be, that sounds perfect.
Simple. Effective.
Right. Perfect is the adjective, directly expressing that positive feeling. You're not just okay with the time, you're saying the whole proposal feels right, suitable, good, it's concise, often enthusiastic, great for quick agreement.
And flipping that, how does it work for skepticism or doubt? Can you express that without being too blunt?
Oh, absolutely. And this is where tone and the choice of adjective are really key. Let's say a colleague insists, don't worry, the whole project will definitely be finished by tomorrow. And you're thinking, maybe not.
Yeah, unlikely.
Right. You might respond with, that sounds a bit ambitious. The signals thought, and a bit ambitious softens it. It clearly suggests reservation, maybe disbelief.
So you're questioning it, but gently.
Exactly. You're not directly saying you're wrong, but you're flagging the feasibility based on what you've heard. It's a polite, indirect way to show doubt, especially useful, professionally.
Very useful. What about empathy or sympathy? Connecting emotionally.
This is where it really shines as a tool for connection. It shows you're actively listening. If a friend shares something frustrating like, my flight got delayed 6 hours, I missed my connection.
Oh, nightmare.
Right. You can immediately connect by saying, oh no, that sounds incredibly frustrating. The phrase incredibly frustrating isn't just describing the event, it's mirroring their feeling.
You're validating their emotion.
Precisely. You're showing you understand the emotional impact. It says, I'm listening, I get it, I care. It builds rapport instantly.
That's powerful. It really goes beyond just the words. Can it also be sort of neutral? Just acknowledging information without a strong feeling either way.
Definitely. Sometimes you just need to signal you've received the information. Your manager might say, just letting you know, the new policy on expense reports starts next month.
Okay.
You could simply reply, okay, that sounds straightforward enough. It shows you've understood, maybe indicates a mild acceptance, but without strong feelings.
Got it. No big reaction needed.
Exactly. Straightforward enough implies, I've processed it, seems manageable, perfect for those everyday administrative things.
And I guess it works well for hypotheticals too. Brainstorming, maybe.
Oh, absolutely. Excellent for hypotheticals. When you're reacting to imagined possibilities, proposed ideas, lets you process the implications right away and give that initial impression.
Like if someone says, what if we launched this totally new product line?
Right. You might respond, wow, that sounds like a massive undertaking, but really exciting. You're weighing it up the challenge, the potential, based on your immediate reaction to the proposal.
So you can engage with future ideas, even speculative ones, right there in the moment.
Exactly. It encourages dynamic brainstorming. And subtly, it can be useful in negotiation too. Saying, that sounds like a fair starting point, signals openness without, committing completely.
Interesting. So let's boil it down for the listener. Why should they really focus on mastering that sounds? What's the key benefit?
Well, why care? Because mastering that sounds lets you respond authentically, naturally, immediately in conversations. It helps you quickly show your initial take.
Shows you're engaged.
Totally. It signals you're engaged, you're actively processing, you're formulating a reaction. It makes your interactions much more dynamic, genuinely conversational. It's really a shortcut to being seen as an active listener.
Someone who's really present.
Exactly. Someone present in the discussion, not just passively hearing words. It adds this crucial layer of responsiveness and engagement, makes you sound less like you're reading a script and more like a real thinking person.
Definitely makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, so from interpreting sounds, let's shift gears. Let's talk about setting boundaries.
Right.
Which brings us to you're not allowed to. This one, it immediately feels more rigid, doesn't it?
It does.
Like a line in the sand. It has this instant feeling of authority, of restriction. Where does that power come from?
That's a very perceptive way to put it. This expression is absolutely about boundaries, permissions. And if you connect it to the bigger picture, understanding you're not allowed to is fundamental. It's key to navigating any organized environment, understanding rules, social order, even power dynamics.
Okay.
Its core function is explicit, state a prohibition. A lack of permission. It clearly says an action is forbidden. Forbidden by a rule, a law, some authority, or even just a widely accepted custom.
So it's not just a suggestion.
Oh, definitely not. It's a direct statement of what's impermissible. And usually there are consequences if you ignore it.
And you mentioned an authority or reason behind it. So it's not just arbitrary, like someone just deciding they don't like something.
Precisely. The allowing or disallowing almost always stems from some established source. It could be very formal, codified rules.
Like laws, regulations.
Exactly. Laws, regulations, school policies, company rules, traffic signs. Think of a no smoking sign. That implicitly means you're not allowed to smoke here. It's official, backed by potential fines or other consequences.
Makes sense. But you said it could be less formal too.
Yes, absolutely. The authority source doesn't have to be written down in law.
Like in a family.
Or just social rules.
Exactly. Informal rules rely on it heavily. Parental guidance is a classic example. A parent might say very clearly, you're not allowed to watch TV until your homework is finished.
Establishes a clear rule, clear consequence within the family. Right. Or think about social etiquette. There are countless unspoken rules about what you're not allowed to do, like talking loudly on your phone in a quiet library.
There's no specific law, but everyone knows.
Everyone knows you're not allowed to do that. The authority is the social norm, the expectation of considerate behavior. The consequence might just be dirty looks, but it's still a boundary enforced by the phrase.
Okay, so the source of authority can be formal or informal. Let's look at some clear examples. How does it work in official situations?
Well, in official contexts, it's usually very direct. You'll see it on signs, hear it announced, or be told by someone in charge. You're not allowed to park in this zone. Clear, direct, implies a ticket or towing. Or in a secure facility, you're not allowed to take photographs. It's a regulation for security or privacy reasons. These are typically non-negotiable, designed for safety, order, or protecting something.
And more personal everyday context, like the parent example, still carries that direct weight.
Absolutely. It acts as a direct boundary setter. You're not allowed to eat snacks in your bedroom. That's a parent setting a household rule.
Creates expectations.
Exactly. Or a teacher. You're not allowed to use calculators during this part of the test. Enforcing a rule essential for fair assessment. They're immediate, direct, and usually have direct personal consequences if broken.
It seems really useful, too, for rules specific to a place, like a museum or maybe a hospital.
Precisely. Venue-specific rules are common. At a museum, like you said, you're not allowed to touch the artifacts, protects the items.
Right.
Or in a lab setting, you're not allowed to bring food or drink into this area. That's a safety protocol. These rules dictate behavior within a specific, controlled environment. Adherence is often required for access or safety.
Now, you touched on this briefly, but can we clarify the difference between "you're not allowed to" and, say, "you can't" or "you must not"? They seem close, and I can see people getting mixed up.
That is a really crucial distinction, actually. It gets to the heart of the nuance. While you can't do that can mean it's forbidden, it can also mean it's physically impossible.
Like you can't fly without wings.
Exactly. Or you can't park there might mean the space is physically blocked, but you're not allowed to park there specifically means it's forbidden by a rule or authority. It emphasizes the lack of permission.
Okay, so not allowed to focuses purely on the permission aspect.
Yes. It highlights the external prohibition. Now, you must not do that. That's a very strong command.
Feels more forceful.
It is. It indicates a strict necessity to avoid the action, often implying a moral reason or urgent obligation. You must not cheat. You must not enter without authorization. It's very direct.
So how does not allowed to compare to must not?
You're not allowed to. Softens it just slightly by focusing on the absence of permission rather than the absolute imperative to refrain. It points more towards the external source of the rule, the sign, the policy, the person in charge, rather than just the speaker's command or the inherent wrongness of the action. It subtly shifts the focus.
Okay, that's a really fine but important distinction. It's about permission, authorization, the source of the rule.
Yeah.
So wrapping this one up, how does getting a handle on "you're not allowed to" really help our listener?
Well, understanding you're not allowed to is just essential for navigating any environment, a new country, a new job, even just a party at someone's house. It helps you avoid making mistakes, respect the rules, understand where the lines are.
Events, awkward moments.
Definitely. It ensures smoother interactions, shows respect, helps you comply with regulations. Imagine starting a new job and understanding the basic do's and don'ts from hearing this phrase, or visiting another culture and grasping quickly what's considered off limits.
So like a key to social and professional integration.
Exactly. It helps you fit in smoothly and respectfully wherever you are. It's really a foundational piece of social intelligence, knowing what's okay and what isn't.
Makes perfect sense. Okay, let's move on. Next up, despite something. This one feels different. It feels like it introduces a twist, maybe, a moment of surprise or resilience.
That's a great way to put it.
This is where it gets really interesting, I think. It lets us talk about things happening against the odds, or when something unexpected occurs. Adds a layer of complexity.
Exactly. If we think about the bigger picture of communication, despite something is a really powerful tool. It expresses complex relationships between ideas, specifically concession and contrast.
Concession and contrast.
Yeah, it allows for a much more nuanced story than just A happened, then B happened. Its core job is to introduce a contrasting element, often an obstacle, a negative factor, something you'd expect to prevent the main outcome.
But it didn't.
But it didn't. That's the key. It signals that unexpected turn, or maybe resilience, or a surprising success even when things were tough. It adds drama, depth,
So it's like saying, even though this significant barrier existed, the main thing still happened. Really highlights the outcome. Now, grammar-wise, I know there's a crucial rule here about what follows despite.
Yes, this trips people up all the time, but it's critical for using it correctly. Despite is a preposition,
Okay, preposition.
which means it must be followed by a noun, despite the noise, a pronoun, despite this, or a gerund, that's the ing form of a verb acting like a noun despite feeling tired.
Got it. Noun, pronoun, or gerund.
Right. What it cannot be followed by is a full clause, a subject, and a verb, so you can't say, despite it was raining.
Ah, okay. That's the common mistake.
That's the big one. And this is exactly where you need to contrast it with words like although or even though. Those words are conjunctions, and they're followed by a full clause.
So, despite the rain, but although it was raining.
Perfect. Or, despite the difficulty versus even though it was difficult. Nailing that distinction is key to sounding fluent and using these structures correctly. It unlocks more sophisticated ways to connect ideas.
That's incredibly helpful. Clarity on that is huge. Let's get into some examples now to see it in action. How does it work for highlighting someone overcoming obstacles?
Well, for overcoming obstacles, it really emphasizes determination, resilience. Imagine a situation like this. Despite facing numerous logistical and financial challenges, the small team managed to launch the product successfully.
Right, highlights their success against the odds.
Exactly. Facing numerous challenges is the obstacle. Despite shines a spotlight on their perseverance and ultimate success in spite of those challenges. It makes the achievement seem even greater because you acknowledge the difficulty they overcame.
Definitely adds impact. What about for unexpected outcomes, things that sort of defy logic?
For unexpected outcomes, despite is brilliant at introducing that element of surprise. It makes the listener rethink assumptions. For example, despite the terrible weather forecast, a surprisingly large crowd turned up for the outdoor festival.
You'd expect the bad weather to keep people away.
Logically, yes. But despite highlights the surprising reality people came anyway, showing maybe their dedication or enthusiasm. It creates a vivid picture of something happening against expectations, makes it more intriguing.
I can see that. It adds a little narrative twist. How about describing personal qualities? Maybe ones that contradict how someone appears.
Oh, it's excellent for that. For subtly contrasting an apparent trait with a deeper, perhaps hidden quality. You might say, despite his very quiet nature, he's actually a highly respected and influential figure in the community.
So his quietness might make you assume one thing.
Right, you might assume he's passive or lacks influence. But despite reveals that, contrary to that surface impression, he holds significant weight. It adds complexity to the description, challenges stereotypes, shows there's more than meets the eye.
That's a really nuanced way to describe someone. And finally, how does it work if you're conceding a point in an argument, but you still hold your ground?
It's very useful in discussions or debates for showing respect while maintaining your position. You could say something like, despite your well-reasoned arguments and the evidence you presented, I still believe our original strategy is the better path forward.
So you acknowledge their points are valid.
Exactly. You're conceding that their arguments are well-reasoned, you've listened, you've considered them, but despite clearly signals that this acknowledgement doesn't change your fundamental conclusion.
Adds respect, intellectual honesty.
Precisely. It elevates the discussion beyond just, I'm right, you're wrong. It shows you can engage with opposing views thoughtfully.
Okay, so bringing this all together for our listener, why is mastering despite something so valuable in their everyday communication?
Well, why is it valuable? Because despite something lets you add real depth, sophistication, and even persuasive power to how you explain things, how you tell stories.
Moves beyond simple statements.
Absolutely. It helps you acknowledge complexities, highlight resilience, describe those situations where things don't go as expected. It makes your descriptions richer, more realistic, more compelling.
More mature communication.
Exactly. It moves you beyond basic cause and effect into a more nuanced way of expressing yourself. Crucial for analysis, storytelling, persuasion. Using it implicitly tells your listener, look, I see the complications, but here's the surprising reality. It really elevates your language, makes you sound more thoughtful, more impactful.
Fantastic. Okay, from unexpected twists, let's turn now to clear connections. Logical steps.
Right?
Let's talk about as a result. This phrase, it just feels like a clear conclusion, doesn't it?
It does. Very definitive.
It connects the dots.
Yeah.
Shows a clear path from A to B, all about cause and effect, laying out the why very plainly.
Indeed. And that brings us right back to that crucial question. How do we clearly, effectively articulate cause and effect in English? As a result is fundamental to that. It's core to logical reasoning, persuasive arguments, clear storytelling. Its main job. Indicate that what comes next is a direct consequence, a direct outcome of what came just before. It establishes that explicit causal link, makes the relationship between two things totally transparent.
So it's stronger than just saying, and then.
Yeah.
It's specifically cause and effect.
Exactly. It's not just chronological. It implies a direct causal connection, often a strong one. It suggests that the second event happened because of the first, maybe inevitably, or at least with high probability.
And grammatically, how does it usually function?
Typically, it works as a conjunctive adverb. That just means it connects two independent clauses or sentences.
Okay.
You usually see it at the beginning of the second clause or sentence, and it's almost always followed by a comma. Something happened. As a result, something else happened. That comma signals a slight pause, helping the listener track the cause-effect link.
Can you give us a straightforward example of that structure?
Sure. Think about a work scenario. The company invested heavily in employee training programs. As a result, productivity increased by 15% in the next year.
Clear cause, clear effect.
Precisely. First sentence. The cause. Training investment. Then, as a result, signals the direct consequence is coming. Second sentence. The effect. Productivity increase. The structure makes the causal relationship unmistakable.
Very clear. Now, where would we typically find, as a result, used in more formal settings? Academic work, reports.
Oh, it's a cornerstone of formal and academic writing. You see it constantly in research papers, scientific reports, business analyses, legal arguments. Anywhere, precision and logical flow are paramount.
Right.
For instance, a study might conclude, the experiment showed a consistent reduction in symptoms for patients receiving the new treatment. As a result, the researchers recommended proceeding to phase 3 trials. It lends authority, clarity, makes the argument's progression really solid, shows rigorous thinking.
And how about just everyday explanations? Explaining why something happened.
Absolutely essential there, too. It helps your listener follow the chain of events easily, like, I forgot to set my alarm last night. As a result, I overslept and missed my train.
Simple, direct cause and effect.
Exactly. Or maybe there was a major power outage downtown. As a result, all the traffic lights stopped working, causing huge delays. That ensures the listener gets the why without having to guess.
It seems pretty neutral, too. Like, it can introduce both good and bad outcomes.
Absolutely. It's neutral in itself. It just signals causality. The outcome could be positive. She practiced relentlessly for the audition. As a result, she landed the lead role.
Links hard work to success.
Right. Or it could be negative. The airline canceled hundreds of flights due to the storm. As a result, thousands of passengers were left stranded.
Links the storm to the negative consequence for passengers.
Exactly. Its neutrality makes it incredibly versatile across all sorts of situations.
So what's the final word for our listener on this one? Why is, as a result, so fundamental to have in their communication toolkit?
Mastering as a result is just fundamental for clear, persuasive, coherent communication, period. Doesn't matter if you're explaining a process, justifying a decision, telling a story, building an argument.
It makes the logic clear.
Exactly. It ensures your listener understands the logical steps, the why behind what happened. It lets you build arguments piece by piece, making them easy to follow, logical, convincing. Without it, things can sound disjointed. The connections might be unclear.
Leaves the listener guessing.
Right. This phrase is your shortcut to making your arguments watertight and your explanations crystal clear. Really crucial.
Couldn't agree more. Okay, final phrase for today.
Let's do it.
Do you know where someone is? This feels like,
Yeah.
well, the standard polite way to find someone, right?
Absolutely. The go-to phrase.
What makes this specific wording so effective and so common compared to just asking directly, where is Sarah? What's the sort of hidden magic in this indirectness?
Well, what's truly fascinating, I think, is how much social nuance, how much strategy is packed into that seemingly simple question. It really is a cornerstone of polite interaction in English. Its core function is to be the standard, polite, indirect way to ask about someone's location, and it contrasts deliberately with that direct, where is Sarah? Which, depending on your tone, the context, it can sound abrupt.
Yeah, maybe demanding.
Yeah.
Or even a bit suspicious.
Exactly. Demanding, accusatory, impatient, impolite. The indirectness of do you know where is the key to smoothing that over.
So it's about politeness, being less demanding. And you mentioned a specific grammatical structure here, too, the indirect question thing that often catches people out.
Yes, a crucial point, and a very common hurdle for learners. It involves embedding a direct question, where is Sarah, inside a polite introductory phrase, do you know?
Okay.
But here's the tricky part, the bit people often get wrong. The word order inside that embedded question flips back to statement order.
Ah, so not do you know where is Sarah?
Correct. It must be, do you know where Sarah is? The verb is comes after the subject, Sarah, in that second part.
Right. Where Sarah is. The statement.
Exactly. That flip back to statement order is the hallmark of indirect questions in English. It signals politeness, that it's not a direct demand for information, but a request wrapped in courtesy.
That's such a common error to make. So following that rule, it would also be, do you know what time it is? Not what time's it.
Perfect example. You've got it exactly. The rule applies whether you're asking about a person, a place, a time, an object. Now let's think about its versatility. How does it work best when looking for a colleague at work?
Well, in the office, it's definitely the standard. You'd go up to someone and say, excuse me, do you know where David is? I just need to ask him about the report. It's courteous, and it subtly gives a reason for asking, which makes it seem less like you're just checking up on him. Respects everyone's time.
Good point. And in a more casual setting, a party maybe?
Similar idea, but probably a bit more relaxed. Hey, do you know where Maria is? Haven't seen her yet. Wanted to say hi. Still polite. Shows you're looking for them, but no pressure on the person you're asking. Just friendly interest.
Right. And what about when you need specific staff? Customer service situations. Politeness is key there.
Oh, absolutely critical then. You're the customer seeking help. You'd approach an employee and say, excuse me, do you know where the customer service desk is? Or do you know where the floor manager is? I have an issue with a product. It's formal enough, respectful to the employee, respectful of the manager's role, sets a much better tone than just demanding, where's the manager?
Definitely sets better tone. Now, this indirectness, we've established it's preferred in English. Why? Fundamentally, what does it achieve socially?
Well, I think it's fundamentally less demanding. It's more considerate. If you ask directly, where is John? You're putting the responsibility squarely on the listener to know and answer immediately. It can feel like pressure.
Right, like you expect them to know.
Yeah, but asking, do you know where John is, implicitly acknowledges they might not know. It gives them an easy out. They can just say, oh, sorry, I haven't seen him, without feeling unhelpful or put on the spot.
Makes sense. Reduces the social pressure.
Exactly. It's more courteous, shows consideration for the other person, and just makes the whole interaction smoother, less imposing. It's a small thing, but it's a subtle act of social grace. Reflects well on the speaker, shows you respect their knowledge or lack thereof.
That's a great summary. So for our listener, the final takeaway on this one, why prioritize getting this phrase right?
Honestly, this phrase is just invaluable for everyday life, for navigating social interactions smoothly. It guarantees you sound polite, respectful, considerate when you need information.
Essential social tool.
Totally. It's practical for the office, public spaces, parties, stores, everywhere. Using it consistently makes your interactions smoother, more successful. You project this image of thoughtfulness, consideration.
Leads to better conversations.
Definitely. And it signals you understand those unwritten rules of English social interaction. Makes you sound incredibly competent and fluent, even in a simple request.
Fantastic point.
So, wow, we've really dug deep into just 5 common English phrases today, and look at the richness, the utility we found.
It's amazing, isn't it?
From expressing reactions with, that sounds, to navigating rules with, you're not allowed to. Explaining consequences clearly with, as a result, adding nuance with, despite something, and politely finding people with, do you know where someone is?
Yeah.
These seemingly small tools, they wield significant power.
You really do.
They're the building blocks that make us clearer, more nuanced, just more effective communicators overall. This deep dive really does feel like a shortcut to understanding those powerful mechanics of everyday language.
Absolutely. And this whole discussion, it raises a really important question, I think. If these 5 seemingly simple phrases hold so much communicative power, so much cultural subtlety, so much grammatical nuance, just imagine the depth hidden in countless other everyday expressions.
Yeah, the ones we use without even thinking.
Exactly. So my challenge to you, the listener, is this. Don't just recognize these 5 phrases now. Actively listen for them in conversations, in media. Practice using them consciously in different situations. Pay attention to how they shape meaning, how they influence the interactions happening around you.
Become an active observer of language.
Yes, because what's truly fascinating here is that mastering a language isn't just about learning new words. It's profoundly about understanding the subtle, powerful mechanics of the words you already know. So continue your own deep dive into the language all around you. The more you notice, the more you'll understand.
That is a perfect thought to leave us with. We really hope you enjoyed this deep dive into these essential English phrases. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep communicating effectively.